Welcome back, Rebel Vlog listeners. Ashley Rebel Girl Evans Smith here. I've been MIA for a little while. I was preparing for my own MMA fight, but I am happy to be back and very honored to have our guest today, Mr. OvinceSt.Preux, or also known as OSP. What do you like to be called?
It doesn't matter. I've been called by my last name, St. Preux, Vince, Vince, OSP, so it doesn't matter.
I'm going to go with Vince today. It's very simple and easy. Okay. Well, if you guys don't know, Vince is the number 7th ranked UFC light heavyweight, and he is currently about to fight Tyson Pedro in Singapore next month. It's June
23rd.
23rd. Okay. So let's jump right into that fight. I know Pedro is young. He's ranked number 12, and he actually, ironically, had just lost to Eli Latifi, who you unfortunately lost to as well. Tell us what you know about your opponent, and just kind of like, roughly, he's a young Aussie, but besides that, what do you know about him?
Definitely, he's one of the young guys that are hungrier, and definitely come from a good camp. I mean, he's entertaining, I'm not going to lie. He's good pretty much everywhere, but he's just one of those fights, I think. I've just been in the game a little longer than he have, and I fought a little tougher fights than he have, so I think I have that advantage over him. But also, too, he's just, he's in my weight class. I'm one of the bigger guys in my weight class, and he's actually one of the guys that come up to my size, so that's what I like. Is you don't find too many guys my size within the 205 division, so that alone should make it interesting.
Okay. So this might be a weird question, but he is almost 10 years younger than you. That could be a pro or a con. How do you see that affecting the fight?
I don't see it affecting the fight any which way right now, because to be honest, like me 10 years ago, I felt good, I felt fast, I felt stronger, but me now it's completely different. Like I'm a lot stronger, I'm a lot faster. Actually, I'm a better skill fighter than I was 10 years ago also. So, putting my time in the game, I'm still fairly new. Every time I fight, I learn something new. So, this is a game that I think at this point in time, age doesn't matter, because I move just as fast as I moved 10 years ago, so I think I'm pretty good on that avenue.
Cool. So it's definitely a benefit. I think cage experience, there's no substitute for it, so I agree with you in that aspect. So you're fighting next month. You still have about a month to go. What kind of fighter are you? Are you the kind of fighter that studies the tape and stalks the guy and obsesses, or are you kind of the guy like myself? I'm more of a fighter that lets the coaches do that, and I'm like very I just kind of listen to what they tell me to do. So what kind of fighter are you?
Definitely listen to my coach. He usually ends up having a great game plan. The only time I find myself in trouble is if I don't implement the game plan. But other than that, my coach come up with a game plan and I stick to it. I'm so used to it from playing football. We have a game plan for a game, and this is what we're gonna do. So I do that, and I do watch a lot of film, because film tells you telltale signs, and my coach is good at breaking down films too.
Yeah. So it's a little bit of both. You do it and your coach does it as well. That's awesome. I'm very mental, and sometimes I watch the film and I'm thinking about the things that I can't control, like, oh, she looks faster or stronger. Well, if you can give us a little bit brief history on your background. I did my research. I know you were a multi-sport athlete in high school. You played football in college. Just tell us how you got into MMA. Who showed you MMA, and how did that career take off?
Originally from Florida. Played football, track, wrestled in high school, and ended up getting a football scholarship to the University of Tennessee in Knoxville. Played there for 4 years, graduated, and pretty much had my chance to try to make it in the league. That didn't work out because, to be honest, a lot of people don't know this, less than 1% of college athletes make it to the NFL. And actually, when you get there, it's extremely hard to stay in the NFL. So, after that, I actually started wanted to figure out what's the next step in my life is going to be, because, for the past like 10, 15 years, all I knew was football. Another thing I didn't want to do is, a lot of my old teammates were coming back, and I seen them like, hey, look, you're looking pretty big right now. So a lot of times in college, when you work out, you don't work out because you want to. You work out because you'll get in trouble. So you leave, but when you leave, you're not going to work out like you used to. So what ended up happening is a lot of guys continue to eat the same way, but don't work out at all. Therefore, put a couple pounds on them. One of my fraternity brothers told me he was going to go to, kickboxing practice one day, and he went the first day. I went with him the second day. The second day, when I walked in, I was like, "This is not kickboxing; it's mixed martial arts." I'm just going to do this to stay in shape. I never intended to fight. I guess I was picking up everything too quickly, and my trainer asked me to fight one day. I continuously told him no, but he convinced me to fight. After my first fight, I kind of took it and ran with it after that.
That's awesome. I feel like, you've been fighting. If you don't know, he's been professional since 2008, correct?
Yep.
Okay, and so you've been, fighting for 10 years, and something that's very interesting, not many fighters, no, I shouldn't say that, but not many people know that certain fighters have degrees. You got your degree in sociology, correct?
Yep, sociology with a concentration in criminal justice and also minor in political science.
So I got to ask, what was the goal there? I went to college as well, and I had a goal in mind, and then you kind of fall into fighting, and it becomes your life. But if you didn't go into fighting, what would you have done with that degree?
Probably something more aligned towards law enforcement. That's something I always wanted to do, but I was really looking at, ended up probably going into some type of government work. That's something I was always interested in. At one point in time, I thought about going to law school, but when I was in undergrad, I studied, but I didn't really study. I didn't need to, just because I can memorize a lot of stuff, and that get me through my classes. Law school involved a lot of reading, and I'm not the type of guy who reads a lot. I usually skim through a lot of stuff, and that got me through a lot.
Well, that's interesting. I think you can definitely still do that once you decide to, quit fighting. Who knows? And you will be a very scary police officer or government agent, whatever you decide to do. You'll be a scary one. So that's interesting. I thought that was cool, and I wanted to share that with the viewers. Just want to talk a little bit about why you're in Orange County right now. If you guys don't know, we are here in Santa Ana, my hometown, and Vince is training all over the place. And I wanted to ask him before the interview, but I thought we'd save it. So tell us, you currently live in Tennessee, correct?
Yep. I currently live in Tennessee. My wrestling coach, John Liberante, moved out here to Costa Mesa. And we used to link up in Atlanta a lot, because that's where he was before. And then he moved out here. And when he moved out here, we just started training. There's just a lot of gyms out here. You got an ample amount of guys out here, and making a lot of connections out here too. So, we've been actually hitting up a couple of gyms. Actually, not a couple of gyms, a lot of gyms out here. So, he went to college. He was college roommates with, Phil Davis. So went down to Alliance in San Diego. The other day was at Black House with Bubba Jenkins, and got good work in with him. Just kind of picking at other people's mind. Went to UTC Ultimate Training Center. Went to Costa Mesa. 10th Planet, Raw Boxing Gym, Ruka, and I think that's about it.
That's a lot of gyms, and we just talked about it before the interview. SoCal is pretty much the mecca of MMA, so there's a plethora to choose from. What has been one of your favorites that you really enjoyed training at?
I don't know, every gym has, this different aspect of it or whatnot. Of course, the 10th Planet is they do a lot of the truck series and stuff. I like that. I've been doing that for a while, and I like doing stuff like that. And I got I got to teach a class on how to set up the Von Flue choke.
Oh, you did? Yeah, wait, no one told me about that. I would love to take that class. Okay, that's cool. Well, you're traveling all over. Is that something that you normally do? Do you do like half your camp back in Tennessee, and then you cross-train other places? How does that work?
Typically, I do probably 80% of my camp in Tennessee. I do about 80% in Tennessee. I go down to Atlanta, work with Coach Manu at Team Manu MMA, doing my kickboxing down there, and come out here to work with John when I'm in camp too. So when we usually in camp, it's just we hit everything hard, and everything's constantly drilling. And my biggest thing is, I spar a lot. I know how to turn it on and turn it off. So I think my biggest thing right now is constantly drilling, because drilling turns into muscle memory.
Yeah. You're correct. So you've been fighting since 2008. It's 10 years. Have you been at one home gym and the whole time, or have you changed gyms a few times throughout your career?
Just been one gym.
Wow, that's amazing. Actually, that was a big question that I had, because with that amount of time, it's kind of rare to see someone be at one gym for so long. What do you attribute that to?
It's one of the I get asked that a lot of times. It's just like a lot of guys being like, okay, look, this gym is too small for you. You outgrown the gym. Not necessarily. There's a difference between saying outgrown the gym, but my trainer, I never outgrown my trainer. He's always filling me up with more and more and more. And, that's an attribute to one of them things where I've been an athlete all my life. I tell people that all the time. I've been an athlete all my life. I've played, in D1 division, Division I school. I know a good coach when I see one. I can know a good coach the way he communicates with his players or with his fighters and stuff. So at the end of the day, when I recognize that type of talent and whatnot, that's one of the main reasons I'm here. I mean, to be honest, I started off knowing nothing about mixed martial arts. I couldn't throw a punch. I couldn't do a triangle. And I had 3 years of high school wrestling. And, I'm pretty much the number 7 guy in the world right now.
Yeah, and it's an amazing feat. I'm very, very happy for you. It's kind of that leads into my next question. So since you are fighting Pedro next month and he's number 12, I listened to one of your interviews and someone said that you don't like calling out people. So what happens when you want to fight someone? Do you just wait around? I mean, do you like to fight people above you? I mean, right now you're fighting someone below you. How does that work out for you?
It really don't matter to me, because at the end of the day, it's just I'm gonna get a fight regardless. Shoot, if I'm not mistaken, fought Yushin Okami September 23rd, Corey Anderson November 4th, and I was supposed to fight Alir January the 24th, and that would have been 3 fights in 4 months. So, I like to keep myself active. So at the end of the day, I think I'm a good draw. The UFC loves seeing me fight. So every time I call for a fight, I tell them I'm ready for a fight. Within, 2 to 3 weeks, I have me a fight.
So you just say, I want to fight, and they give you a fight, and it's just like that? Well, when you're that big of a draw, it must be that easy. That's awesome. Okay, well, let's talk a little bit technical and skill set. You've had almost 50-50 when it comes to your finish, or when it comes to your wins. They're almost 50-50 knockout and submission. So I'm like, is this guy a striker more, or is he more a grappler? Because you have these amazing, unusual submission finishes, but you also, apparently, he used my boxing coach yesterday or the day before, and my boxing coach says he hits harder than anyone he has ever worked with. So you hit hard, you knock people out, but you also choke them out. So what kind of fighter would you consider yourself?
Just an all-around fighter, because if I walk into a gym, I'm not going to be the best striker in there. I'm not going to be the best wrestler in there. I'm not going to be, the best jiu-jitsu guy in there. But I am going to be a great mixed martial artist. So I know to pretty much put everything together. And, a lot of submissions I go for, some people call them, low percentage submission. To be honest, like an armbar is a low percentage submission, because a lot of people know an armbar is coming. My submissions, I don't call them low percentage if you don't know what it is. Mm-hmm. If you don't know what it is, I think I got the advantage. That's the way I look at it. A lot of times I want to strike, but if need be, the fight go on the ground. I know how to finish fights from the ground too.
Yes, I mean, obviously it's called mixed martial arts for a reason, and that is the key, to know how to do everything and to string them all together, and sometimes it's hard to do that. So that's good. You're just an all-around freestyle fighter, maybe you would call it?
Yeah, freestyle.
Freestyle, okay. Well, my last kind of section, I don't want to go away from mixed martial arts. Well, it's not really going away from it too far, but what do you think kind of has been your hardest thing to deal with in your career? Earlier we talked about social media and kind of not wanting to upset people, but it's not just that. A lot of people deal with family problems, traveling all over. Some people don't like public speaking. There's just little things. And has there been one thing that has been really hard for you to deal with in your career?
Not necessarily. Well, it's just being disciplined and a lot of factors and whatnot. Playing college football, I didn't have to worry about losing weight or cutting weight or whatnot. Now I was actually encouraged to gain weight. And now with mixed martial arts, you got to maintain and lose weight. And a lot of times, I put myself in unnecessary situations where, I make my weight cut a little too tough because I'm not dieting like I need to. And, it becomes something different. And just me being careful about situations where, I don't like being bothered during fight week. There's a lot of times I like to get in my zone and don't like being bothered during fight week. But now it's just like it's a job. I have to do it. I have obligations that I have to do, so I go ahead and take care of them. But as long as I don't have a lot of situations, I just try to keep myself as focused as possible. If I'm not focused, I know my trainer is there to keep me focused. So.
Okay, that's interesting, and I don't want to pry too much, but. What would be, I know we have to deal with a lot of media and open workouts and stuff like that. Is that kind of what you're getting at when it comes to fight week? Tell me, what would your ideal fight week be if you could just do whatever you wanted until the minute you fought?
Basically just go from the room to the training room. From the room to my training room, and that's about it. Because I like it low key. I like to stay sharp and focused and whatnot. And if you have outside distractions, they can be a nuisance sometimes. But and another thing I started doing a lot too is just doing a lot of mental training and stuff. Because the physical attributes I think I have all the physical attributes to be the best in the world. Actually, to be the champ is just a lot of times that slight percentage is the mental aspect of it, and that's where kind of if something get thrown off and I like things to be a particular way, so if my mojo get messed up, I'm like, okay, look, I get irritated very quickly. So but the mental aspect of the game has helped me out a lot too.
Interesting. Can I ask what you're doing? Is it yoga? Is it meditation, visualization, stuff like that?
A lot of visualization, meditation too, and a lot of mental skills training. And I dream once a week we always have a mental skills class for all the fighters and stuff. Because, like I said, you can have all the attributes of fighting or whatnot, but at the end of the day, if you're jacked up mentally, you're not going to get very far.
That's awesome. It's so hard for me to meditate or visualization is easy, obviously, but I think a lot of fighters were like go go go, so it's hard to calm our minds and kind of meditate, that kind of stuff. But that's amazing you're doing that. Is that going to be the first time you've done that before a fight?
It's going to be the first time I kind of focused in before a fight. It's just a lot of things, no matter how much you try to control stuff, a lot of unnecessary stuff can happen, during fight week, before a fight, and you need something to actually, redirect you. Like if something ended up happening the week of the fight, you'd be like, okay, boom, I can switch this avenue. And then basically you can end up being good. Because no matter what, I tell people a lot of times, you just, when your conscious is going, everything is lining up. But if something throws you off and your subconscious take over, you might end up getting in trouble, because the last thing you don't want to do is let your subconscious start hesitating. And then when you start hesitating, your subconscious is going to end up getting messed up.
What is it? They say sports are 80% mental. Is that correct? Is that what that? Okay, I believe that's what it is. So, well, that's all the questions I have, and I'd like to give the guest a chance to tell the viewers where they can find them across the social media boards: Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all that.
All right. On my Facebook, you can find me at my fan page, OvinceSt.Preux. Instagram and Twitter, you can find me at 003_OSP. I'm actually being more active on my Instagram now, and also Twitter, so I've been doing pretty good at that. So
thank you for talking with us. Don't forget to tune in. It is June
23rd.
June 23rd, he's fighting Tyson Pedro in Singapore, which is so awesome. I really hope to fight somewhere far away and amazing like that one day. You heard it here. He's going to move on up the ranks and use his mental skills to win this fight. So thank you.
Thank you.